prior to that. So the only veteran that was, the veterans on our team were Pastor Langwish, senior pastor, and myself serving as DCE. And where we were at as we were beginning that journey is really not aligned in our direction in ministry. Like I said, a lot of new people wondering how to fit in, how to be a part of a culture that has been around a while and yet is open to some new things. And so for us, it did a couple of things. It aligned us as a lead team, as a leadership staff, and then set us on the path to really do some amazing things where we were stuck. And so my area of ministry has been discipleship type things over the last years. And, you know, we've done all sorts of different ways of addressing discipleship, but really kind of stuck in a pattern of not knowing how to get any traction, not knowing the next steps to take. How do we really move forward with making a difference in the west side of Denver with all these new folks? And so our time together really brought us together, and it wasn't easy. I mean, we all just didn't jump on board and say, yeah, here we go. We were all knowing that we needed to come together for setting our direction for ministry and where we wanted to go. But because of our personality styles and all the things that everybody brings to the table, there were some hurdles we had to get through to bring us to the point that we are today. So we have really implemented a ton of things in the last year that continue to drive where we're going into the future. Do you want me to start naming some of those things? Would that be helpful? Yeah.
Get specific, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so one of the first things that, you know, we do with in Accelerator is look at our mission statement. So we've done different mission statement iterations over the years, but we really crafted a mission statement that has taken the core of who we are and our identity as a ministry here, and then shaped it a little bit more to push us into the future. So developing a new mission statement, really developing this leadership and discipleship pathway. And in the process of doing that, we kind of separate them a little bit, but they're so intertwined that the staff people responsible for leadership and discipleship, we talk about walking hand in hand in ministry. So Pastor Dyer and I have the lead responsibilities in that area. And through this process, we've actually even flipped our roles as we looked at what our gifts and our passions are and where we can best serve based on our history and our experience. And so I have shifted into a leadership development kind of role, and Pastor Dyer is doing more of our discipleship. So really defining that caused us to restructure really our entire leadership team in what our responsibilities are. We got stuck a couple of times along the way because we wanted to have everything perfect and in place, and we realized that, hey, let's just get out there and do some stuff. Let's just give it a try. The build, measure, learn kind of model really helped us move beyond where we were. And so we said, hey, we're just going to demo some stuff. We're just going to do some pilot projects. And those ended up being things that we are now implementing more fully and expanding into our entire ministry. We also moved to govern our policy governance. So we realized that the model that we had for our ministry, which was very unique, we weren't board driven. We had these 4 branches of ministry called vision implementation teams, and then all sorts of ministry teams underneath that. And we found that was not effective any longer in our ministry. And we've been feeling that for a number of years. But through this process, we really realized that we needed to take the next step in really reordering and modeling our ministry in a different way. So we'll be doing that process, which is 2-year intense process, and then probably a 5 to 7 year implementation process of reshaping the direction of our ministry in our governance. And so our congregation is on board with that. So that was another outcome as a result of our time together. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Yeah.
So,
a lot.
you guys came and you joined us. It's almost 2 years now or so, a year and a half. And there was, it's a difficult thing. You've been there over 30 years, right? Pastor Language has been there over 30 years. And what I'm most proud about with you guys is you've learned new things, and kind of a guard has been dropped, and there's so much passion for learning, and it's beautiful to see. So if you could go back a year and a half, what would you tell yourself to just don't worry about these things? What words of wisdom would you give as you kind of started into this?
Yeah. Probably the first one is lean in and trust the process. And that is sometimes hard when there is maybe uncertainty and not knowing, where you're going, or what the outcome will be, and know that the Holy Spirit's going to work through this whole thing to bring you to a place that's better than you could ever imagine. And so, just kind of trusting that, trusting God's hand in it all, trusting the people that you're on your team, that God brought you there for a reason and for a purpose, and your unique attributes and experiences and passions and all of that are going to bring you to the place where God wants you to be through this process. It's hard work. One of the things that we did along about halfway through the process is we started setting aside dedicated time that we were just going to work on this good work that we were doing in leadership development and discipleship. And so Thursday afternoons from 1 to 3:30 or 4, we got everybody together in the same room and just dedicated that time to keep this process going, to keep working on the areas that we needed to continue developing to get where we wanted to go. So
That's awesome.
That dedicated time was huge. Yeah,
that's a great word of advice for sure. At Bethlehem, you guys have kind of battled for a while with perfection, I would say, right? I mean, if something's not fully flushed out, then we don't pull the trigger. And if we can't even project, that this is going to be a win, then there could be a spirit of kind of just skepticism around even starting at all. How did you overcome that?
Yeah. Working together with you guys was helpful in that, having outside perspective, definitely in this area as you look at working together in ministry, but even in our individual lives, we talk about everybody having a coach and just having somebody outside that gives perspective and insight into how the individual is walking through the process and contributing to where we're going. But I think for us, we had to let go of that perfectionism, that desire to know that it would be done well and perfectly and exactly what as we planned, which nothing goes that way, but you hope you get it towards that end, and say, let's just give this a try. We're just going to call it a pilot project. We're just going to call it an experiment, if you will. And so we started doing that, and and then as we're doing it, and we did it with our leadership development, and we called together a group of people that are leaders in our congregation and started doing the training with them. And so we said, we think that this is going to be a great training tool. We identified the resource that we're going to use, and started doing everything to get the right people involved in that. And as we went through that, we evaluated each step of the way. And so we were measuring, is this successful? Is this going in the direction that we want it to go? And we learned from that. And after that first time of doing it, those that may have been skeptical or hesitant said it was okay to do it. We could call it an experiment. Then we can shape it into what it needs to be to go the next step. Well, we're still doing that same thing that we tried, that we called an experiment back then. And it turned out to be the way that we want to build our leaders here at Bethlehem. So just being willing to take that leap, to give it a try, and being willing to be very open to the evaluation and what needs to be done to shape it for the next iteration to make it the best. So
yeah, perfection is the enemy of progress.
Yeah.
So any questions for Sandy from y'all's perspective?
Who's all in the room? What churches are there?
Just Christ Greenfield and Gloria Day from Houston. Yeah.
Awesome. I just was in your building last month. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty awesome. We're going to be going down there either in January or May with some of our team. And then we have kind of representation from our school, East Mesa, and then the Gilbert campus, cool. and a number of new team members, because one of our biggest, so Jake and Jack and I would go through this back in the day, and obviously we've led a number of accelerators. It's one thing to bring it back and then bring it to your kind of executive team. It's another thing to have your executive team cascade it down through all of our respective areas of ministry to catch the vision that we are about discipleship and people development and multiplying disciples. And here's what that's not just words that we say, but here's actually a plan to accomplish that from our serve team members, the leaders and coaches, et cetera. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, great. Hello all.
No other questions for Sam? Yeah, go, Jack.
How's it going?
Hey, Jack, how are you? Great to see you.
Doing well. Now, I heard, was it you that went to go visit Candace?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that? What was that experience, and what did you learn from doing that visit?
Because we interviewed Candace.
Yeah, we just interviewed her yesterday.
Serious? Oh, I love it all day long. So yeah, it was good. Candace is she came and did one of our kind of talks. I don't know what you call these little Zoom talks with everybody. But anyway, she came and did that with us, and her topic was leadership development. And she's got a great background in the secular world, and then stepped into a leadership role as a pastor in her particular.
We heard her story we heard her story yesterday.
Oh, so you know her whole story. She's awesome. So so my experience was great. I've used her as a coach after the Accelerator, and we've been meeting together every month. It's been a couple months now, but periodically to just check in, to keep the vision. What she has done for me is help keep the vision of leadership development alive and on track. When you go back to something that you've always done, it's easy that you get pulled back that way. There's this pull that draws you towards the way that it's always been. And especially when the majority of people in your congregation, in your world, haven't experienced what you have. And so she's a voice in my world to say, yeah, let's stay the course on where we're going with leadership at Bethlehem. And so one of the ways that I learn best is by fully immersing myself in a culture. And so I made arrangements to go visit their congregation down in, is it North Carolina, South Carolina? One of the Carolinas. Yeah. And they they now, of course, come from a different place. They are a young congregation that is in a growing community, and they got to start their ministry on the path that they are right now. It's different when you're a long-standing congregation that has a huge history that needs to shape the culture into something new and move people from point A to B in a way that is different than what they're used to. So that whole managing change, and how do you make change happen in a way that it's embraced and people come along with you. And so I wanted to go immerse myself in their culture and just see how they built up their people, how they onboarded their volunteers, how they continued, as well as their staff, because the system is the same. Onboarding staff and onboarding volunteers would be the language that we would use. They would not even have that language, because they're all just servants. They're all just doing their thing in the kingdom. And so meeting with all of their staff and seeing how congruent they were in their understanding of their role in the ministry was pretty amazing. They were totally all on the same page, but doing their individual role and responsibility. So it was a great experience. I met with leads in all of their areas. They're all talking the same language. They're all know what their purpose is, what their mission is. They know how everything that they do connects to their mission statement, and being about drawing more and more people into the kingdom. Yeah, it was an amazing, it's an amazing way to learn.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I like coaching in an immersive experience.
You got a question back there?
Experiences.
Yeah.
Dan?
Hey, Sandy, Dan Shevin of Glory Day.
Hey, hi.
You and Dave Languish have been there for 30 years plus. How did you personally reinvent yourself, and how did you navigate through all the changes? What did you have to sacrifice? What did you give up? You seem like an early adopter, but there had to be some processes you had to navigate through personally before you could help the staff change.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I'm at Bethlehem still after all this time is that we have been a place where it has been a place that I've been able to reinvent myself and be allowed to serve in different areas. So I've served in a number of different roles, not all the same. And so that, and I am a change agent. I like things new and fresh. I also have to realize that not everybody does. And so I have to slow myself down a little bit and bring everybody along. You asked about personal sacrifices and things that have to happen. Yeah, I am an early adopter. And maybe too early sometimes. And so it's important to have people around you that keep you in check in that way. But I think for me, the hardest times are when I've been able to influence and I've been able to direct a lot at Bethlehem because I've been here so long. And as we grew and as we expanded and as we moved into, some new things operationally, I had to let go of that. And that was hard. So personally, I had to, and I would do this through, again, others speaking into my life and talking with others about how maybe my involvement or influence needs I need to pull back. I need to let go and allow other people to experience those things and to grow in those areas and to do what we've called them to do. So, for me, that's probably been the hardest thing. David and I have had to work hard at being in ministry together for this many years. We are also very good friends, and that's good. But there's always this balance when there's tension or when there's differences we have to work hard to maintain that. And because we're also very good friends, we're motivated to do that. We are very, very different in our personality and our approaches. And so, yeah, there's a lot of just even interpersonal work that has to be done to stay the course and stay in ministry together and support one another, and then allow others to come alongside and to do it. And, you know, I'm at this place in my life, just on a very personal and real kind of way, that I'm wondering how long it is healthy for me to be in this place. You know, is there a time that, you know, you hit 40 years in a ministry and it's like, it's over half the life of the congregation, and you wonder if it's maybe time to move on. So, you know, I'm moving, and I'm evaluating and just determining what that needs to look like. Yeah.
My one question for you, Sandy, super proud of you. Who's your apprentice? Do you have an apprentice?
Yeah, so I don't, and we're working on that. That's part of my motivation in leadership, right? And bringing along somebody that's going to be able to just step right in. And right now, what I'm working on is strengthening our teams and developing that pipeline of training people up. So that's strong, so that I can step away, and yeah, things still happen because I'm not the person spinning the plates on Sunday morning or whatever. Yeah.
We gotta get going.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Sandy, we love you. Thank you for your time. We're heading into all of our presentations after our couple days of work. Could you give Sandy a round of applause for her?
Great to see you all. Blessings.
All right, God bless.
Yes.
Enjoy the day. See you soon.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Excellent. Hopefully that was helpful. Never actually done that.